Thank you very much for making a date. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, banking consultant Nana Utue Champon says there's nothing wrong with government's plan to support local banks struggling to recapitalize. Government had earlier announced its intention to extend financial support to local banks that cannot meet the new minimum capital requirement should they fail to secure capital from the open market. This has, however, been criticized by some industry players who think that this support could have been extended to the 5 collapsed banks as well. But Nana Utue Champon thinks otherwise.
That has always been on the books, that if you are found to be solvent, because now they've solved those who are not solvent by putting them together into one vehicle called Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. So the rest, which are solvent but cannot meet, they are still prepared through the government to bring in funds to merge them. Leaving you on your own with, if you've got like 60 million, which is the capital that some of the old banks have, that's those which were formed before 2014, the minimum capital was and still is 60 million. So if you've got 60 and you're looking for 340, it's a tall order. So the suggestion would be try and merge with 1 or 2. Then whatever shortfall there is, we'll meet you there. And those funds are available. Because if you look at these 5 that have been merged, the government brought in as much as 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. So the money is there.
When we talk about and raise issues that one of the reasons why this minimum cap was brought was to try and reduce the number of banks and also try and force some measures as well. If the government is coming again to support, doesn't it defeat the whole argument of this 400 million capital requirement that everybody should strive and meet, and if you cannot meet, get out of the market? Because I now know that, government after all is there to help me.
Not at all. The 2 scenarios are different. Presently, you are there on your own. And if you cannot meet the 400, what they're asking is join with 1 or 2. So that you can become strong. If you join and there's a shortfall, 50 million, 100 million, they said, we will help you because you have now become stronger. And that will not be free money anyway. It will be a loan that you'll repay. It's the same thing.
Is that what you are aware that it will be a loan or be free money?
No, it won't be free money. No, there's nothing like a free lunch. It will be a loan. The same thing happened in the UK during the banking crisis. Almost all the banks, except Barclays, had to be rescued by the government. And now most of them have paid back the money. So it won't be a free money. It will be a loan.
It defeats the whole purpose of this whole recapitalization?
Not at all. Because if in the process you have 3 banks and you're able to create 1 bank by merging the 3, you've made them stronger. So the purpose is achieved. But what the objective was and still is to have big banks which are able to do big ticket jobs in the economy, because the economy between.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has outlined a new set of guidelines to assist banks and non-bank financial institutions in protecting the system against money laundering. The guidelines on anti-money laundering and combating of financial terrorism takes effect from this month. In light of this, Odelia and Philip try to explain and break down what anti-money laundering is. Let's watch.
Hi, my name is Philip Nanfuri.
My name is Odelia and Tiamwa. Today we're missing out on the end.
Waiting.
I'm not sure. He's out.
Anyway.
Today we are talking about money laundering, and we just be wondering, I personally do not know what it is, the layers that comes with it, but what Philip just tells me is that is dirty money made clean. Philip, what's money laundering?
Okay.
Okay. There's some money in your pocket.
Yes, so I was able to gather. Whoa, I think my money is missing.
No, it's in your back pocket.
No, it's not here again. Booyah, it's here. So this is money I got from my colleague Sandra and Eben. Now, so simple. Imagine these were my proceeds from my sale of narcotics. And I'm not saying I did narcotics, please. Now this is the sale from narcotics. Hypothetically speaking, I go into the bank and I deposit it, placement. They don't know. There's also another method that is used called smurfing, where you separate up the money into bits. So you have one bit here, you deposit it in one bank, you take another bit, deposit in another bank, and then the last bit in another bank. You reduce.
I have 4 bank accounts. I'm not smurfing because
well, maybe you want to diversify your risk, and it's natural to have a multiplicity of bank accounts, so that in case one bank is not really doing well for you, you quickly move to the other. At some point, I had 4 accounts like you, but I closed 2 down, and now I have only 2. Okay, I have 3.
Okay,
so but we're not smurfing, please. I just opened them for various reasons. But yes, if deposits are coming in very large, you can't trace the source, then you should be worried. So what some of these bad guys do is to break up the money into bits, and it reduces the suspicion of a financial institution that this money that's coming in is illegal. And as I told you earlier on, you just break it into bits and pieces. That's the smurfing. So that's for placement. Then after it goes into the deposits or into my deposit account, then I buy some T-bills, I buy some stocks. That's the layering. Then I start getting returns on these T-bills and stocks. That's the integration. It becomes part and parcel of the financial system. And we can no longer tell whether this is legal or this is illegal. Then that's what you call money laundering.
Okay. On that note, OPN ends today with discussions on money laundering. My name is Odilia.
And my name is Philip.
We're missing out on Northern. Thanks.
Bye.
So remember, failure by banks to comply with these guidelines could result in the revocation of their licenses. Let's turn our attention away from the financial sector now. And the Ghana Free Zones Authority says it is poised to improve road networks within all its enclaves in the country, especially the Tema Zone. Some industries within the area say bad road network is a major cause of low productivity over the years. Responding to the call, the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Free Zones Authority, Michael Befi, hinted that a consultant has been appointed to protect or to prospect for contractors to begin work on the roads.
We have given you the chance to be able to make more money, but how much have we benefited from it?
Yes, I want you to comment on the road infrastructure that I raised earlier. You said you were engaging a consultant, you advertised. I want you to touch on it briefly. How soon are we going to get this done?
Oh, no, the consultant have been appointed. So I think they started the work last week or so. I've forgotten exactly. They have been appointed. So, now, after the preparatory work and the final report, they can now give us the chance to place advert for a contractor. Then we appoint a contractor. Then we take off.
Now, Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge finalist Farm Cure hopes to start an enterprise that helps farmers fight off insect pests. In this edition of KIC Profile, we tell you how the ladies of Farm Cure are leading a team of 4 young entrepreneurs to deliver a project they consider exceptional.
It's not just a one-time, what do you do? What you have to be going there consistently. So you have to find.
As the team lead, Nella has an oversight responsibility of ensuring her team members are performing their duties.
I'm in charge of making sure everything comes together. Now, I do a bit of everyone's work, and I mostly major in making sure that our business model is intact, making sure that anything relating to our business is intact. By the end of the day, if there's a fault, it's my problem.
I'm the product lead. I handle the creation of the prototypes, knowledge about the prototypes, and the products basically.
I'm the IT and the communication lead. I basically take care of our website, the creation of our website, our social media platform. I'm virtually in control of it. And also, I also research for information related to what we're doing and make it available to the team.
I'm the marketing lead, so I'm in charge of putting our business ideas together, making sure that the product gets out there.
So Tina, you were saying something about the paper that now is waterproof.
It is a group that started with 3 members but went through a transformation that can only be described as interesting.
We started with 3, but we had to drop the person because they were not pulling in their weight. Now we went for Stephen because before the first pitch, he was also having problems with his teammates, but we saw how hard he was working and how passionate he was about the whole project. We picked him because we looked at how he was working with his old team and the direction he was taking them. And we are like, wow, if we include him in our team, this is what he could bring.
Well, this is the first time I'm getting to know why they selected me. As she said, I was part of a team, but unfortunately, we were evicted in the second pitch. So I was just there, relaxing from the KIC pressure. Then one Sunday evening, she called, and Ernestina calls me and it was like, what's your background? I want you to join us. I was like, wow. I said, wow, like how many times?
Yeah.
I said, like, wow, like 5 times.
He knew that I was going to call.
I had a feeling from Pure was going to call.
Yeah.
2 to 10 per acre, depending.
With a background in agricultural science and business administration, the two ladies, Nela and Ernestina, steered this team into the finals, much to the admiration of the gentlemen who later joined the group.
I interacted with them a number of occasions, and I realized that they were not just, they were wise and intelligent. And I like to deal with people who think far.
Very hardworking. When she's on stage, they're on stage. It's like, I mean, forget about the word. I mean, they take the stage. So I admire them from afar.
Together, this team is offering a unique product that they say will help farmers fight insect pests.
FarmCure is seeking to bring up an environmentally friendly pest trap. We are just trying to reduce the amount of pesticides that the farmers spray.
Nela, Ernestina, Prince and Stephen agree that the Agritech Challenge is not for the faint-hearted, as they say their resolve has been tested so many times. But being part of the challenge has been an enlightening journey.
I really like the capacity building that Cosmos organized for us. It was very, very insightful. I mean, you get to understand basic things such as, bookkeeping, how to how to gel within a team and the problems we were having, to itemize it and talk about it. It's very helpful.
I did agric in school, and I'm still going to do agric everywhere I go. And I feel they have helped me understand so many things that going forward in academia I still wouldn't have been able to know with regards to setting up a business in agric. So I believe it has been very important, every aspect of it.
This has given me hope in a lot of things and a lot of issues, and hope is what has actually kept me going.
I like doing things alone. Like every time someone asks us to do anything, before we added the two, if anything, I'll just be like, oh, don't worry, I'll do it, and then I'll bring it. But the competition and the capacity building and coming to meet with your team, it has helped me rely more on people and to trust them more. Yeah, there's something in your head.
Members of FarmCure believe they have a strong team and an even better agribusiness concept, one they are confident will attract investment when they pitch to judges of the Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge in October.
No, I'm on leave, so...
I don't think there was a time.
And still with agriculture, global demand for rice annually is estimated at 475.64 million metric tons. Out of this, Ghana spends close to $400 million a year on imported rice. Meanwhile, sugarcane farmers at the Sugarcane in the Greater Accra region are swapping their old profession and now cashing in on the increased global demand for rice as the Sugarcane sugar factory goes down. Karen Dodu visited the town and reports farmers have totally shifted from sugarcane production to rice cultivation.
Vincent Clement is a farmer and manager of this 4-hectare rice farm. Formerly a sugarcane farm, this farm used to be one of the many that supplied sugarcane to the Sugarcane sugar factory some 20 years ago. Vincent believes that poor management is one of the reasons the factory broke down.
In the 70s, the time the sugar factory is in the 70s, and during those days we were students, we were going to school, and here is the sugarcane farm. And then the sugarcane, we learned the sugarcane factory going down, got down around the 80s. By then, we were in school. So we are not part of the workers. And then before we complete, totally the sugarcane factory industry collapsed and broke down. And then all this area became vacant, the sugarcane condemned.
With the factory being the main source of demand for the sugarcane farmers, they were left with no choice than to quit growing sugarcane. With their silt clay lands, the farmers resorted to rice farming, as rice thrives well in that type of soil.
Here is vacant, lying down, and our village is closer to the farm. And then we start preparing it small we tend it, and then preparing small for rice farm.
In running his farm, Vincent has to daily face the #1 enemy of his business: birds. The birds who are attracted to the open rice grains pick them all day. Shouting and pelting stones at them, well, helps to some extent, but that comes at the cost of his son losing his voice by the day.
You scare them with catapults too. So sometimes if you spray the catapult, you throw them the catapult, you must shout so that they will know that you are serious.
Like scare them?
Yes. Sometimes you throw the catapult, they'll be there, but if you shout, no, they'll go. And this job is done from 6 to 6. 6 to 6. Oh, yeah, hey!
Now into full-time rice farming, Vincent grows up to 3 tons of rice in a good season. Another group of people in the rice production chain are the collectors. Women like Ma Esther, who do not own rice farms, buy the harvested rice from farmers like Vincent. Once they buy the rice from the farmers, their work is to dry, mill and bag the grains. Government, through the Wrong Irrigation Scheme, supports farmers by watering their farms every season at a cost of 150 cedis. Esther believes that government can do more to support their business by helping in the packaging process as well.
We need a machine. It's called power tiller. It will help us harvest and package the rice. Harvesting during the rainy season is very problematic because the roads are so bad and they get so muddy, it makes the work really tiring.
Road access.
Esther, together with some 10 women, own the Merciful Rice brand. They contribute and buy the grains from farmers, dry, mill and bag them. Each 25-kilogram bag is sold for 90 cedis and the 50-kilogram bag is sold at 170 cedis. With farmers introducing the jasmine breed of local rice, Esther tells me that the demand has risen.
And yes, sir, I feel once a local rice, no, you travel at the chemwa, near I to say, I feel.
Some people think less of the local rice. They think it's dirty, but it's not. With the new breed we have in the system now, it tastes even better. People just don't know how to cook the rice.
The story is no different here at the Malamata market, one of the major markets in the Accra metropolis. Here, traders in rice tell me that indeed there has been an increase in the demand for local rice. Although there is an increase in demand for locally grown rice, most of the women here do not sell them. Mama Jane, one of such traders, explains that the difficulty in getting the wholesome and nice one is her challenge.
People always come to my shop asking for local rice. Unfortunately, I don't sell some because I don't know a wholesale point to buy it from.
It's local rice no hana say ya wo malata say nje bi se nima se bi wo ho bie na shop kese bitimi akofa bi aba abeton.
With the burden demand for locally produced rice and production process desperate of assistance, it is clear that more support is needed from government for the sector. While they wait for government support, it is only God who can have mercy on their merciful rice. Reporting for Joy Business, Karin Dodu.
Now, CEO of Tonka Automobile Limited, a local car assembling company, Kwadwo Safo Jr., has expressed disappointment at what he describes as insensitive the decision by government to allow 2 foreign-owned automobile companies to establish plants in Ghana. Government says it has already signed an MOU with 2 companies to establish plants in the country to complement government's industrialization agenda. By speaking to Joy Business, Kojo Safo Jr. says local players like Tonka need support from the government or risks being kicked out of business.
Well, over the past few days, we've had government express interest in improving the lots of industrialization in the country, especially in the automobile industry. But yet again, this story cannot be told without including the local indigenous brand called Tonka. Today we're here at the recently launched showroom of Tonka Automobile to get in touch with the CEO of Tonka himself.
We have this Tonka Mensa as well, which is good.
This is what device the finance minister did buy.
This is what the finance minister did buy, and we have a couple of people that own this vehicle as well. It's called the Tonka Mensa. The Mensa was actually named after my grandfather.
What's assembling been like for Tonka?
It's been, I mean, with assembling process, it's been very, very, I wouldn't say easy, but it's been smooth. It's something that we've been doing for a very long time, so the assembling has been, I mean, it's been on track. It's been very, very smooth. The only part that we had issues with was initially breaking the Ghanaian market to see how we can take over the streets of Accra with the Tonka vehicle. One of the people that actually helped the sales of these cars was when the finance minister purchased one, and when Acrobato also did one, I mean, bought one. He drove all the way through the whole of Ghana, and people started asking questions. Hey, where did you buy this car from? And that was when he started directing them to.
So for you, breaking the Ghanaian market remains the issue now for Tonka?
It's not a major issue. It's still an issue, but we're still penetrating. I mean, if we've been able to sell more than 200 vehicles for a Ghanaian brand, it's good. It's good. We are still.
Let's just check out. Okay.
This K71 is a 1.5 engine capacity vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, it's beautiful. This is the 2018 model of the K71. The older version, which is the 2016-17, it's almost the same, but this has additional luxury features attached to it. The problem here is most people do compare the prices of our vehicles to fairly used cars that are being imported into the country, which shouldn't be the case. This car is going for 85,000 cedis. We're paying duty on this on almost 20,000 Ghana cedis. So if the duty component was to be taken out by the government or were to enjoy certain tax holidays or certain tax incentives, this vehicle will be going for 65,000. And this amount you see here, or this price you see here, has inclusive the duty, registration, and it has a 3-year warranty as well.
Wow, that's a huge package. That's a very lovely package.
Yes.
But it tends to mean that issues related to import duties and the cost of doing business in Ghana is really much of a problem, especially for local industries like yourself.
It is. I mean, with local industries like us, we have two things that are, for us, we have two things that are really killing us. One, the dollar rate. I mean, the ones, it keeps on going up. But if government was to purchase more of our vehicles and support us through the purchase of our vehicles for government institutions, we would not be much affected with the dollar rate. We would definitely, yes, be affected, but the heat wouldn't be as much as it is now. And if, I mean, we're not paying duty as well. Somebody comes in and purchases a brand new tier rubber vehicle for 85,000. I mean, if you convert it into dollars, it's
I understand. Just recently, we heard the senior minister say that we're going to be having 2 more assembling plants, vehicular assembly plants here in Ghana to support that of the local industry. Tonka, you already have your assembly plants, I believe.
And they haven't supported us. I mean, if you hear a senior minister say that they are going to...
And of course, we'll bring you another version of that particular story in our subsequent bulletins. But on that note, to wrap up this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace. It's been great having you on board. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji Riafi. Have a good afternoon.